particularly in the 1930s and that depression.
Northern Italy and parts of Spain, with fertility rates below 1. Homes in abandoned villages all around Europe.
First, there's few births. Fertility rate is very low. It's 1.38 in Europe, whereas the rate needed for survival is 2.1.
While Western Europe is experiencing low fertility, parts of Eastern Europe are already experiencing population decline.
From 1989, for example, to 2002, the population has decreased by 13%.
The United States will face severe problems even before population itself may begin to decline.
Imagine if all your taxes went for nothing but Social Security and Medicare, and you still didn't have health care as a young person. All right, so we face real challenges here.
Low fertility levels, which is the main cause of declining populations, means we don't have so many people in working ages compared to those who are retired and collecting retirement and other benefits. How are we going to finance it in the future?
It's also true that never in history have we had economic prosperity accompanied by depopulation.
Modern economies need growing populations, which means that every developed nation needs immigration.
Developed countries would say that there's no problem with aging because they can make up the lack of labor force by immigration, which is happening today, especially in Europe, Australia.
This will mean greater out-migration from the poor countries. This out-migration is basically young, it's basically male.
And that is very serious for several reasons, but I mean the two that I like to point out is one is the labor productivity is decreased in the developing country because there's no labor force. They are overseas. And second, the generation of human capital, because those children are growing up without a father.
Well, human capital refers to the knowledge, skills, information that people have. Modern economies are based on information and knowledge. Not physical strength, but command, mental command of different types of information and skills. So it's the foundation of modern economies. Any economy that doesn't have substantial investments in its people's human capital won't be able to become a modern or a rich economy.
It would be ironic and it would be very unjust that the poor countries should come out to bail out the rich countries because the rich countries have been delinquent in doing their homework to keeping up stable and strong families, and then they themselves would lose theirs, bailing us out.
This chapter is about the American family and why it is that, that the United States is having enough children to replace itself, more or less. I think many people would say it's Hispanic immigrants that are having children fairly early, having 2 or 3, when Greece and Spain and France and Italy and Japan and Russia, all of Eastern Europe, have fertility that's much below replacement.
Mexico has experienced an incredible birth dearth. The decline in fertility in Mexico is without precedent in world history. Americans have this vision that there'll always be Mexicans trying to come across the border and that we need some huge wall to keep them out. Well, careful what you wish for, because not only in Mexico, but throughout Latin America, we're seeing these dramatic declines in fertility.
60% of U.S. population growth since 1990 has come from immigrants and their children, mostly Hispanic immigrants.
Adam Smith, probably the greatest of all economists, once wrote that prosperity is associated with growing populations and depression, he didn't quite use that word, but he meant that, is associated with declining population. it's new, could lead to very serious other negative consequences. These are a few that I mentioned.